Hello all and welcome back to my channel. I want to talk about Jubilee. And if you don't understand, Jubilee happens every 25 or 50 years. It's often a religious associated celebration, times of revelry, and basically like basic celebration. And the reason why I'm bringing this up today is because how Jubilee affects us as Black folks in America and throughout history. And there actually is a very major correlation to Jubilee that has happened in the past and Jubilee that is currently going down, and why it is significant for our true freedom as melanated beings. So, Jubilee happens, like I said, every 25 to 50 years. It's a celebration often of life and hope and, looking back to all that you've done. It also is a time of washing away sins and bad deeds, particularly for those of a religious nature, Bible, Torah, Quran sort of thing. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is that something that I had noticed many years ago is that we as Black folk in America go through an extreme amount of terrorism from the dominant society about every 50 years. And that caught my eye, but I didn't really do much with it for a few years. Held on to that fact that would always tickle the back of my mind. And so it started coming up again a few years ago. And of course, now with the advent of the internet, it was easier to try and understand what was going on. Well, when I looked it up from a numerology point of view, when you break down 50, 5 plus 0 will equal 5. And the number 5 in its positive form is entertaining, it's freedom, freedom loving, imaginative, basically hope, all the good attributes you want as you progress into the future. However, on the negative side, it's stubborn, it's impatient, it's unpredictable, and it's a very volatile number. And since as we as Black people have been going through this basically every 50 years, it made me wonder why. Ever since the end of slavery, things that we could put together was bad things that happened to us. Usually there's some sort of major war or altercation that America has with somebody else, and usually there is a disdain of other people. However, we end up being the targets of that disdain. And I could never understand why is this happening? What makes 50 so significant? And it wasn't until just a few years ago, I was watching a video here on YouTube, and I was watching a Bobby Hemmett video. And Bobby Hemmett mentioned, well, every 25 years, Black folk go through their own Jubilee, different than a dominant society. Every 25 years, we have a spiritual awakening. And that's when it snapped. It's like, wait a second. So every 25 years, we have a spiritual awakening. And then every 50 years, the dominant society has their own Jubilee against us to, to bring down our spiritual awakening, which is how I interpreted that. And I got to thinking that would make sense, because if you add in transmutation, or to transmute, we're open spiritually to hope and new things and life and purpose, which 22 plus 5 is 7, and for numerology, for 7 is purposeful, orderly, and intuitive. So we're having a spiritual awakening onto who we are as beings. And so to shut that down, they have to have the negative aspect of a Jubilee. So this series on the Jubilee will pinpoint which wars we're often involved with, which people are actually the target, and how we are in fact the lightning rod so that they can have their Jubilee, so they and their people can move forward. Also, that particular Jubilee that they are having, this particular Jubilee, this year's Jubilee of the 50 years in the 2000 teens, because the Jubilee started technically 2015, how this particular Jubilee will in fact end up being the most violent against us, because in this particular Jubilee is also the Jubilee where we can gain our freedom. because every 25 years we have a spiritual awakening. And the awakening that is happening to us now also involves nature. They can't fight nature. They're trying to fight nature, and they're getting their butts whooped all over the world. So thank you for joining me. I like, share, and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video as we do this series on Jubilee, what it is, how we're involved, and how to protect ourselves in the future. Thank you and have a great day.